All right, guys, we are just gonna test this out. I'm a complete and utter novice at this. Can I get my wine? Let me get my wine. Don't look at my nails, darling. They're so bad. You are tuned in to an all-new episode of A Seat at the Table podcast, where there is always a seat for you. Now, listen, this is our first video version. Cheers to you. I am fresh-faced, no makeup. I don't know, it's a thing that we're trying out. We'll just see how it goes. No big deal. It's just like you're stopping by for a glass of wine. No big deal. All right, so how the fuck has your week been, eh? I am telling you. So for all of the girls who are out here like Dolly Parton working a 9-to-5, bitch, shout out to you. And whatever that is, 11 to 7, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 7 to 3, I don't care. But for all the girls who are actually like still working right now, shout out to you. My boobs are really boobing right now. All right, so which could be completely inappropriate, but like I said, this is a thing, we're trying it out, no big deal. All right, anyways, right, not to call attention to. Anyway, so here I am, Joe Blow, with my regular Joe Blow job. They blow me, I have to blow back. I have what we in the commoner world like to call paid time off. Yes? Oh, yes. Or vacation, as the rest of you girls who are just home doing your thing. I'm so jealous of y'all. I'm so jealous. Anyway, I had like 4 little days of PTO. It felt like I clinked my heels twice and PTO done. I unfortunately had great expectations during the time. I wanted to spend time out west with one of my best friends to celebrate his birthday. But, you know, listen, you become an adult and you have adult responsibilities. Not to say that none of those people aren't adults, they are. But, you know, every moment that you are in, whether it is a financial moment, it is a social moment, an emotional moment, you've made decisions up until that point that booked the ticket for your arrival. So, you know, for me, working a regular, what I would consider a regular beat, you know, and living a very modest lifestyle, sometimes I feel like financially I'm just not in the same place as some of my friends. You know, like, God bless those of you who have dual incomes. You know, there's always this misnomer that like, okay, so the girls who don't have kids must have a ridiculous amount of disposable income, right? That could be further from the truth as far as I'm concerned, right? Okay. So then there's also the adage of like, oh, well, you went to school, so that must mean you're doing well. School, really, especially a bachelor's, like, you know, I was one of those girls that went to college, was the first one in my family, and really didn't really give much thought to the rest of my life. And I also had not been really making major decisions for myself up until that point. So to be at that age trying to decide what I'm going to do for the rest of my life was like absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? But here we are. We've arrived. Anywho, so needless to say, I didn't do much. I made a promise to myself that I would focus in and do this. Now, I didn't commit to a bead. I didn't commit to any other that shit for y'all. Sorry, but here we are. So Edward Cagney Matthews of Mount Laurel, His mugshot was released this week. Now, if you have been following this story, if you are in the tri-state area, you may have known about this story maybe the later half of last week, beginning half of this week. Edward Cagney Matthews is a gentleman that resides in a, I guess it would be like considered a gated community, private community in New Jersey. And he got into several verbal altercations with other tenants, specifically, I believe, tenants of color. And he never really suffered any consequence for this. He later could be heard telling people to come see him at his house, and so they did. People showed up in throngs. The media showed up in throngs. Shout out to my friend, better known as Lowe's Dad on Instagram. Shout out to John. But, I think it's really to the point that, like, we will shame you. We will publicly flog you for being a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, a rapist. We're just not having it anymore, and shout out to everybody involved. Shout out to every media outlet that covered this story, because I think it is by and large time that we start to hold people accountable for the decisions that they make. Now, mind you, it is everyone's right to feel the way they want to feel, right? But when this is to the point now that is infringing on me, then we have a problem, right? So, new music this week. Azealia Banks dropped a new single for, I don't know if this is like just a basic single or I don't even want to use the words basic, but just a single not connected to her album. But the single, which is called Fuck 'Em All Day, the single cover features Azealia dressed in a dark denim bikini bottom, and her nails are painted and they say Kanye West. Now, in the song, which is now available on Spotify and Apple and Tidal, I believe, Azealia can be heard rapping about the rap icon and what she sexually fantasizes about doing to him. I think the thing that I love the most was, or the thing that drew me in originally about this single, was the iconic reference to, I believe, the iconic reference to Foxy Brown's Brooklyn album. I don't remember. It's not the Broken Silence. Is it Broken Silence? Maybe it's Broken Silence, where she's wearing the dark blue Christian Dior bikini, and she's got the wet and wavy, and she's giving you, young Fox Boogie Brown. So yeah, I thought that was an iconic reference. Now, the thing that I am a little bit not sure about what's going on is, earlier on last week, now most of you fashion girls probably have not really been paying attention if you aren't truly a fashion girl. If you're just a girl who just likes to run up the numbers in the store, this story's not for you. But if you are a true fashion girl, then this story is for you. Okay, so what is interesting is recently the cult brand Hood by Air recently has had some murmurings of re-emergence. If you go to their Instagram page, there is definitely some new references there. Now, this is a brand that I have loved from the very inception, and any rumblings of them coming back or not even coming back, because it's safe to say that as individuals, they didn't really go anywhere, but I think as the brand re-emerges, it's very interesting to see who they've chosen to tie themselves to. Now, about a week and a half ago, if not 2 weeks ago, Azealia had a really what could only be described as an iconic image of herself posted, where she is in her bald-headed regalness, and she is donned in hood by air regalia, and her hand is held out, and there is a knife kind of coming full speed towards her hand. And the image was up for a nanosecond before it was taken down. So not sure what's happening there. The girls can let us know. Also this week in fashion news, the ever so talented Kirby Jean Raymond actually decided to, well, not decided, but first of all, shout out to the brand Pierre Moss, which was having an iconic moment for their very own, broadcasting in Paris, as well as having an iconic show at the Madam C.J. Walker estate in upstate New York. Now, unfortunately, due to Elsa and her nastiness, the show was postponed. Now, the show is due to take place today, and if you are a fashion lover like I am, you will be waiting with bated breath to see what this show produces. Now, one thing that I love for sure is that it seemed like a lot of the fashion creative elite was there, and not just creative in the fashion world, but just creative, period. So shout out to Black Excellence, right? So Drake. So Drake had a not so sneaky link date this week, which, I mean, honestly, I wanna call it a sneaky link because, quite frankly, I mean, the man was having a private dinner on the field of Dodger Stadium. It wasn't like it was in the middle of a game. It was, the stadium's closed. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, spoken as someone who has gone out of her way to try to remain very much sneaky in a link, I think that there are some places that you can choose to go that, like, I don't know, girl, maybe not the best idea, huh? And so I guess the verdict is out. Was it hot or not for Drake to have this date at Dodger Stadium? Now, let me color this with a little bit of context, right? Now, first of all, who wouldn't love a romantic date at Dodger Stadium? I don't know. Who wouldn't love a date with Drake? Probably a kid whose mom is that Drake is out with. Yeah. So Drake was actually seen on this date with Sierra Kenyon high school star, and I'm not going to say this kid's name because he's a kid, but so this gentleman, this young man, plays for the same basketball team that LeBron James's son plays for, as well as, I believe, Dwayne Wade's son. And this young kid is the actual star of the team. Now, his mom, who most recently could be seen on the sidelines sitting next to Michael B. Jordan and Drake, is a very gorgeous woman, body like, the bodies that Drake likes, you guys know. And she's gorgeous, and she's, I'm sure, age appropriate. And so was it that sneaky, though, for him to have a date in Dodger Stadium and for this random ass helicopter just to be flying by, flying close enough to catch a picture of them? Now, I know Drake is a certified lover boy, so, all things associated with that. But I gotta say, I don't think that you should stop your life just because media exists, but I think that you gotta know that some of the things that you do aren't gonna exactly remain low, right? You're in the middle of Dodger Stadium. There is a helicopter flying overhead. God, my boobs are boobing, dude. Okay, is that better, y'all? Should I have done that a long time ago? Sorry. Such a distraction. Anywho's. So, yeah, kind of weird with the Drake thing and the girl and the woman, because she's not a girl, and the woman and her son, but prayers to all parties involved. So Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams has had quite an interesting couple of weeks. She most recently gave her opinion about Tabitha Brown, social media maven, if you will. Wendy gave her opinion about Tabitha's marriage and some moves that she was going to make in her marriage. And, you know, Wendy feeling like, you know, honestly, having been a girl who's been there, done that, you probably don't want to go there, right? Okay, cool. And Tabitha kind of just came back and said, you know, girl, in the most white glove usher kind of way, like you can't sit here kind of way, but as praise the Lord as possible. Tabitha told her, like, girl, I basically hope you understand love the way I have it, because you don't, which is why you feel the need to comment on mine. I mean, it was really not just so much what she said, it was the inferred. I love a good inference. But this then led to some other happenings. Now, keep in mind that Wendy recently also was exposed in now I didn't know about this. Well, let me finish out the Tabitha story. So shout out to Tabitha because she just did a seasoning with McCormick and it sold out in like 40 something minutes or something like that. So shout out to her. I think that's amazing. However, back to Wendy. So now Wendy is an iconic, legendary, she is the moment, will always be, right? It's just what it's going to be. However, on a episode that aired this week, Wendy is leading in a story talking about a young man who was recently perished. And Wendy leads in the story about talking about the fact that this young gentleman has more Instagram followers than her, but asking her audience if they knew who he was. Inference being like, here's this TikTok guy, no disrespect intended, but here's this TikTok guy and he, you know, here I am and he's got more followers than me. Well, he died. And it kind of caught everybody off guard. I think a lot of people thought that it was extremely messy, especially because it, number one, was not a story that was, at least to my knowledge, a national headline story. She chose to bring this story to the forefront of her daytime television talk show platform, which I found to be weird because you're bringing a story to your platform for all intents and purposes would not have had any national coverage unless you had brought it to your platform. You're bringing it about a gentleman that very few of us know, and you're doing this for no particular reason unless you have some affiliation. Now, this gentleman was from New Jersey. I don't know if you have some sort of affiliation with him. The family has since spoken out and and spoke of what they felt was a general lack of taste and decorum on Wendy's part. And furthermore, several people are calling for the cancellation of Wendy's show. Okay, so this also comes on the heels of a recent Drink Champs episode featuring the legendary singer, television, radio, and podcast diva, Miss Jones. Now, if you are familiar with Miss Jones, or if you're not familiar with Miss Jones, please do your Googles. She is a 90s artist, early 90s artist, who has a lot of legendary features. She later became a very popular radio DJ, doing many morning show drives with some of the most popular radio personalities to date, including Star and Buck Wild. Now, she talked about on the episode of Drink Champs about how Wendy Williams and her husband had a hit on her. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. An actual murder hit on Miss Jones, and Miss Jones knew. Now, why isn't this bigger news? I'm not sure. I don't really recall now. I'm old enough to have been around during that time, but I don't super recall hearing that Wendy was trying to kill Miss Jones. Like, I feel like that's something like, now Miss Jones says that it was such a known fact at the time that Lisa Evers of Street Soldiers and Channel 5 Sunday night Street Soldiers News even reported about the, and I'm going to say alleged assassination or murder for hire of Miss Jones. Now, Miss Jones later went on to talk about how her and Wendy have since buried the hatchet, so to speak. And of course, as a result of Wendy no longer being with her husband. So, not sure why this isn't bigger news. Not exactly sure why people aren't talking about this a little bit more. I mean, she tried to murder this woman. But yeah. So also in this week's news, up and coming rapper Bia, who actually, if you guys remember, Bia is not that up and coming. Now, I don't remember if Bia was part of making a band or something, but I remember Bia being part of a group of girls who were competing to be rappers. Do y'all remember this? I remember this. So anyway, Bia, who has a really popular rap song right now called Whole Lot of Money, recently appeared on a Instagram live with Nicki Minaj. Now, the Instagram live, which Nicki Minaj came out earlier this week telling her barbs that she had a very important announcement to make and that she would be there at 10:30 on Thursday night, and no, she ain't gonna be late. So of course we all knew that it was something probably that she was gonna be trying to sell us, but nonetheless we all showed up because, well, it's Nicki Minaj. So anyways, Nicki appears on the newly released Whole Lot of Money remix with Bia. The two, while on the live, talked about their experience as collaborators, and Bia being a new artist, how intimidating it was to work with Nicki. Nicki also took the time during this live to connect with her fellow YMCMB. Am I saying that right? It don't matter. She took time to connect with not only Drake, but with Young Money's very own Wayne. Now, Wayne oddly took the time to talk about his recent meeting with young Instagram celebutante Taylor Briggs, I believe her name is. Now, this is a young lady who is probably about 10, who wears really fun hairstyles and goes to different runway shows. And Wayne took the time during his live with Nicki to talk about what an amazing time he had with young Taylin. Now, the only problem that I have with that is that Taylin is a minor, and unless this was connected to something, number one, sometimes I feel like the celebrities really overshare. Like, okay, you hung out with this young girl. You don't need to tell us that. For what? For what? For what? You don't need to tell us that you hung out with this 10, 11-year-old girl. You don't need to tell us. It's fine. And if you tell us that you hung out with this 10, 11-year-old girl, I mean, are we gonna think that it's funny? We might. So yeah, if there's something connected to it, maybe you should just tell us what it is. It's fine, no big deal. Okay, yeah. So Nicki, later talked about how she was really excited to work with Bia because Bia had such a different flow. And so the collaboration sounds pretty cool. I think Nicki sounded great. I cannot wait to hear what a lot of these younger rap girls, like what the evolution of their career sounds like. Or even the evolution of like one single. Like, what does that sound like? Speaking of rap girls, so Nicki recently, or Kim, Little Kim, the Queen Bee, recently said that she would love to go toe-to-toe with Nicki Minaj for a versus battle. Yo, I love Nicki. I love Kim. That's not I don't really think that that's the verses I want to see. I would love to see Kim and Foxy, just because to me, I think that verses is not about I think versus has to be a thing that's right for both parties involved. I don't think that there is a reason for Nicki to do a versus against Kim. I don't think so. Like, I think that at this point, versus is like Dancing with the Stars. You only do it if you have to. Like, you know, like, all right, I will make a cute bag. But yeah, versus is kind of like Dancing with the Stars at this point. Like, if you don't have to do it, you're not going to do it, right? And I for sure, if it's going to happen, do not want to see Nicki and Kim. Definitely want to see Kim and Foxy. If anything would happen, it would have to be Nicki and Cardi for me. For me. Right? Last but not least, so really some really crazy things happening. So shout out to all the Britney Spears fans out there. This is a really rough time for you guys. What do you guys call the Spears? The Brit Brats? The whatever, the Oops We Did It Agains. Anyways, so been a really rough time over in the Britney camp due to this conservatorship. Britney's longtime manager, decided that he's gonna quit this week because he said, hey, Britney, if you ain't doing no more shows, then girl, there's nothing for me to manage here, gotta go. Now, Britney's now, here's the thing, I think a lot of people have been commenting on this conservatorship, not really knowing, like, what does this all mean? I feel like everybody just thought that like a permission slip was signed by her dad that he owned her. And that's not quite how it goes. I wish Kim Kardashian was here to really explain the legalese of all of this. But what I will say is that Britney does have a personal conservator who was now looking for security coverage after she was getting death threats due to her link to the conservatorship. And so Britney's dad said, you know what? Absolutely not. I'm not paying for your security, which is coming up to $50,000 a month. I'm not going to pay for your security. Then I'd have to get security for everybody who's listed on the conservatorship. And we'd run out of money, which is pointless. So no, my wife's been getting threatened. My daughter's been getting threatened. I'm getting threatened. Girl, just live with it. This is the job you chose. So not sure where that lands everybody, but listen, this whole Britney Spears thing is a true gag because a lot of the reasons for why this conservatorship needed to happen is being closely held under wraps. And I think that it is best kept that way. What I do believe is that Britney Spears is a legend and she deserves to be taken care of in the way that she deems fit. However, and not as in, okay, because that just like kind of nullifies everything that I just said when I say however, but I mean, Britney, girl, you need your dad, girl, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You want to do hood rat shit with your friends. Totally get it. But like, girl, the girls are saying that you may not be trustworthy out there. You know, like you're not ready to, how my eyebrows look. You're not ready for all that. All right. So like, you're still a millionairess and you have beautiful children and you can still do a beautiful 1-2 step when you feel the beat. So yeah, I mean, nah, I do think it's messed up that like she wants to have kids and y'all are like, I don't know, putting padlocks on her womb or some shit. I don't know, but like, I don't know what's all behind it, but what I do know is that it seems as though some people who are not related to her but connected to the situation seem to want a lot of financial and have a lot to financially gain by Britney coming out of the conservatorship, right? Because ultimately someone wants to see her lose out there. And the fact that she's been able to keep herself for these years, I would say that it's probably not the people who have been kind of holding the door, like the gatekeepers right now. I don't know. But this was just a test of your emergency broadcast system. Okay, so I don't have on any makeup. This lighting is kind of fakakta. I'm wearing like a house dress that like my boobs are showing. It's a lot of weird things happening. I keep turning around because I'm like, oh my God, is somebody walking in the background? Listen, just tell me what you think about this. Okay, love? Thanks. And listen, if you ain't at the table, then chances are you're on the menu. Peace.